Well, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for our webinar today, Integrating Gift Planning with Major Gifts. My name is Nathan Stelter, president here at the Stelter Company, and very excited to be here to introduce our presenter, the lovely Pamela Davidson, who I think many of you have probably heard and known, and we're very excited to have her present on this particular topic today. Before I get into introducing her, I'd like to say just a couple words about the webinar series. As an expert advocate for asset-based giving, Stelter is committed to providing innovative solutions and education for industry. And we pride ourselves on really being this bridge builder in the nonprofit community, and as such are happy to host and always host this complimentary webinar today, as well as a whole slate of webinars throughout the year, connecting you to experts from across the country to assist you in maximizing revenue across your fundraising portfolios. Today's webinar with Pamela is our second of our 2022 curriculum. We've got an amazing lineup this year, including Eddie Thompson, founder and CEO of Thompson Associates, who will be revealing 13 characteristics of high propensity donors. Elizabeth Ayers, Executive Director at Gift Planning at University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, will be teaching you how to convince leadership of the importance of the gift planning program. And Stacy Solman, Chief Legal Officer and Vice President for Personalized Philanthropy for the American Committee for the Weizmann Institute of Science, will be providing strategies to make plan giving data work for you. That, along with a variety of others, we'll actually even have a special guest next month in a kind of Q&A session. Dan Ariely, some of you may have seen him on TED Talks, professor and author at the Duke University in the Psychology and Behavioral Economics Center for Advanced Hindsight. We're having a very interesting Q&A session with him, a little different from our presentations, but very interesting. So be on the lookout in your inboxes for those invitations in the coming weeks. Back to our presentation today. I want to give Pamela as much time as possible because she's got a lot of energy and a lot of good stuff to share. Pamela is president of Davidson Gift Design in Bloomington, Indiana, a consulting firm that specializes in all aspects of gift planning and training. She's also a senior vice president for the aforementioned Thompson Associates, offering estate planning services to nonprofits. Was with the Indiana University Foundation for over 11 years, leaving it as the executive director in plan giving and associate counsel. True to her Indiana roots, Ms. Davidson earned her BA from Indiana University and graduated magna cum laude from the Indiana University School of Law at Indianapolis. She's been an examiner in the estate and gift tax division of the IRS and practiced law in Indianapolis as well. She's also a past and president and chair of the National Committee on Plan Giving, now the National Association of Charitable Gift Planners, and on its board for 6 years. She serves on the boards of several charities in her community and is an amazing advocate for her clients, amazing advocate for this industry, and I'm very excited to have Pamela Davidson join us today. So Pamela, it's all yours.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I'm delighted to be with you today, joining you from the Heartland, wearing my good Indiana red. Go IU women in the Sweet 16. You know, it's that time of year. But I'm delighted to be here today to talk about major gifts and plan giving. What is the marriage between the two? Because if there's anything we know with the National Association of Charitable Gift Planners, the pressure on major gift officers in terms of metrics, in terms of goals, they're being applied to people in plan giving, even though there's some diverse skill set in that realm of development. So the pressure is so on, and we're here today to talk about, can they be integrated? Are there ways where gift planning can help that major gift officer achieve those lofty, ambitious goals for the organization and actually move the organization into a different place? I always say that charitable gift planning is really a paradigm. It's a paradigm. When I got to IU Foundation, I've told the story so many times. It was all about how great the university was, how visionary, how well they managed money, how cutting edge they were. And we basically were saying to that donor or prospect, hey, we've identified you. Hey, cough up that gift. The princess of the outstretched hand. When I became the director of plan giving, I changed the paradigm completely. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is paradigm shift in a pragmatic way that can bear fruit for you in terms of fundraising. Okay, so what could those be? Ooh, let's see. That didn't advance, Jen. Let's see. Why don't you advance that for me? There she goes. All right. So what do we know about major gift officers? And I want you to know, Jen and I practice this. So it's not that we wouldn't prepare. So, oh well. Major gift officers, we all know they're charged with activity, with financial goals. And what are they thinking? Cash, 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 cash. But we would say in our realm, have we considered assets as gifts? And what did Russell James tell us? Assets may comprise 96% of a portfolio. He says, why are you all fighting amongst yourself for 4% when 96% is untapped by most charities? Absolutely right. So assets, how do we think about that? So I just said a few minutes ago, when I became director of Plan Giving, it was all about how great the institution was and still is. But I changed the paradigm and I focused on assets. We live in farmland territory like you do. We live in closely held business territory like you do. I live in a college town. There are a lot of rental landlords that are dying because of the regulation and the uptick of managing those properties. We all live in communities where people have out-of-state vacation homes. We all live in communities where people have retirement plan assets, probably the largest portfolio in my entire county, because Indiana University is the largest employer here, and people stay and retire because the culture is so absolutely fabulous. So in that sense, we should be really focusing all the time on assets. And here's the wonderful goal, the reality, number 3, how will that mesh with the charity's goals? Yeah, there's some planned gifts that can create spendable immediate cash, plus create a pipeline. Because here's what I say about endowment. The only question about endowment, when it comes to your charity taking on endowment, if it's been around long enough to, be considered like it might last. The only question about endowment is what we're doing so important that we need to be here forever to do it. That really is it. Is what we're doing so darn important, we just need to be here forever to do it. And if that is true and you have some stability under your belt, your charity ought to be moving into endowment. Do you have to do it yourself? No, we'll talk about collaborators down the road. So how will this mesh? We've got some idea. And are there planned gifts that create income for the charity? That's what your leadership wants to know. Everyone thinks all planned gifts have deferred impact. That is not true. The Ira Charitable Rollover has immediate impact. An outright gift of assets, we're going to talk about that as in the realm of possibility. That creates immediate spendable income. Giving required minimum distributions to the charity every single year and becoming a sustainer, that's a gift that creates income. Giving up one of multiple retirement rental properties and funding a planned or arrangement, that can create income. There are options that don't mean deferred gratification. I will say there are deferred gratification gifts, but that's okay, because unlike many major gift potentials, the repeat gift potential for planned gifts is huge, because here's the diff: they solve the donor's problems instead of just supporting the charity. Hey, I love charity a lot, but I want you to know I love my husband and 3 children more, and I hope you feel the same about your family. So any gift I make has to fit within my primary goals, is the love of my family. Okay, Jen, why don't you move it? Move the next slide. Thank you. All right, so let's ask the question: has your charity ever promoted gift planning? I am working with a charity that does work all over the world. They've never talked about endowment giving or plan giving. So the very first thing we did was do an article for them to run. We're coming, we're coming. You're going to hear a different tenor. We're going to talk about gifts that will give us long-term perpetuity. We're please pay attention. There'll be some changes. So we've alerted them. We're coming, we're coming, we're coming. Because to just drop it, they'll be thinking it's still about cash. So we mentioned assets and other things. All right. Have your leadership and key volunteers been asked for a planned gift that works for them? That's a great question. When I got to IU Foundation, we did not ask leadership for plan gifts because they were the ones, big cash people that they trotted out at the beginning and the end of every capital campaign. So they really never thought about the perpetuity, the inclusion in the estate plan. And finally, they gave us some headway to talk to those people about it because we had great suggestions for them. And here's what I say all the time, my children use against me all the time. If you do not ask, the answer is always no. Nathan said I'm a volunteer. I've been volunteering, stumping for public broadcasting for decades because it changes my daily life so much. And I was on the community advisory board. I still am. And we talked about doing a Give Us 1% campaign. Give us 1%. We have so many people that are retired staff and faculty that have retirement plans from the university. So we were going to suggest they all gave us 1% of what it was left in the plan. And the IU Foundation quashed it, said it's not enough. We said, what about 2%? Because by level of participation, and that sounds like nothing, 1 or 2%, we would have raked in a whole lot of cash. And we would have also said to them, because marketing means be ethical. You live in a lot of Midwesterners on this call. So your reputation matters all the time. So ethical gifts, revocable gifts in the short term, that's a really good thing to suggest to people. So what could we say to our board? We could stand up at our next meeting and say, every one of you could be a plan gift donor at the end of the day today. For any of you who have retirement plans, if you would go home and late tonight, get into the website of that plan holder and go to the change of beneficiary form and put us down for 1%. And now we can say all of you have made a plan gift for the benefit of this organization. And that takes out of doors really, really well. Because if insiders don't give, why would outsiders ever consider it? You know, in higher ed, they always ask the family first. They do the campaign inside the campus first, you know, to get those gifts first so they can go out to the world and say, oh, our inside team, it costs them, we don't pay them very much, and they're making gifts. You can too. So it really is a very good philosophy. So that's encouragement. That is encouragement. And we'll talk later about why retirement plans. Okay. Does your charity consider training and education important for its staff? Hey, that's an important one. I say to all of you who live within distance of a plan giving council, try to join that council. And if you cannot afford to join that council, that's fine. Look at the roster, get on their mailing list or their email list to see if there are any programs that you can drag your recalcitrant leader, your boss who just doesn't get it, to, because they'll believe an expert who lives more than 50 miles away. So you can use that to orient and indoctrinate the unlearned on the wonder of charitable gift planning. And it's just incredible what's there. I've learned so much from my local council. I cannot even tell you. It's been my source. Here's what else the local council does. You can look around the room and say, oh, they're from XYZ University. They're from that big hospital foundation. If I get stuck on a plan gift, maybe they'll help unstick me. I can see who I can call to get out of a jam, because that happens. And I will say, Nathan will agree with me, there's no more collegial group in the world than charitable gift planners. A rising tide lifts all boats. Your donors could be mine. 3 to 5 different plan gifts in the estate plan. Glad to help you. All we really want is an informed donor who makes good, educated gifts choices for themselves. That's it. And then repeats it with others. That's really what we want, is to give them the right tool. So if the charity is not considered training and education important for you, you might have to say, golly, we really need to learn some, and maybe the organization can have one membership in that council and rotate who goes. I mean, there are ways to make this work. There are ways to make this work. And here's the next question. Are the charity's fundraising goals for the major gift officers realistic and achievable? And I can hear a lot of you shouting into your computer right now. Yes, I know they're not, because they're thinking cash gifts. They're thinking demand gifts. They're thinking all you have to do is be belligerent enough and ask enough people and not let people slip through your fingers, and it will all be true. Well, here's what I would say in the Midwest. We are outliving actuarial life expectancy in the Midwest. People are very concerned about their well-being for the long term, and they should be very concerned. My city is having a big annexation struggle, with people saying, not us, we don't want to pay. There are people who may have their homes compromised if they're now in the city taxes versus the county. There's repercussions that we just cannot even fathom. And so the goals for the major gift officers, here's what I say with your leadership: try to be realistic. When you go in and they beat you over the head, club you, and say, why haven't you all this? Say, we're in conversations. Here's what we're doing. We're in the relationships. We've talked about this asset. What do you know? They have multiple farms. I never knew that before. Maybe use one, dangle something to let them, know that you have to go back more than once. And it's never one ask. We say in charitable gift planning, I say this, it's like raising my children as teenagers. With planned gifts, you have to repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat, because you never know when the prospect is ready to hear your message. So it really is not a one and done. In fact, for those of us in gift planning, when it's one and done, we're apprehensive and nervous that we haven't considered other options. And we're going to write a CYA, if you know what that is, CYA letter to them to say, oh, we talked about other things too. We might want to halt, the calendar year is long, Let's talk some more. Because what is our goal? What is our goal? A gift conversation. That's a gift conversation, because the sleuthing you can do, major gift officers, the information you can bring back for your research term could be mighty. Put that on your list too. Jen, would you advance to the next slide, please? Okay, has the charity cultivated donors? Okay, IU at one time had a president that was the bane of all fundraisers. He came from the East Coast, so he's abrupt anyway, but he would go meet somebody and within 2 minutes of meeting them, make the ask to him. Well, you just can't do that. You have to say, well, what have you been involved in? Tell me your history with the university. Did you meet your bride there? And did it lead to the career you had? You got to ask all those nicey questions. Do you have a second place back in Bloomington? But he would just ask immediately, and he just aggravated everybody because it was all they're putting the squeeze on me. So no. Cultivation means you pay attention. And here's what I would say to you. I never take notes during a session with a donor unless I'm mail brochure about opera season too. That I'll write that down. Or check with so-and-so about status of scholarship fund, something like that. I'll write it down. But as soon as I leave and drive around the corner, I stop and write down a ton of what I call folklore, all the stuff that are really going to make a big difference. I have a child with issues. I have a second wife. She goes out to Arizona every year to try to recover her health. I have, property farms that I inherited from my mother. I have a lot of CDs, and aren't the rates just terrible? They tell you lots of things, and you're listening. Assets. Russell James, Nathan would be proud of us right now. Okay, what else? Does the charity work on telling people about its purpose and mission? I cannot tell you how often that is lost. I was on the board of a nationally recognized women's shelter here in town for over a decade. And when we went through a campaign, we were reminded what we all say to you: no one knows your story. And that women's shelter got more publicity than every other charity in town because of the potency of its visionary director, who was something else, impacted us all. So no one knows your story. I just did legislative calls to stump for public TV. We're doing data casting. So kids who live in the hills or hollers of Indiana who will never have broadband can, for a very reasonable price, get their lessons sent to them that are tailored by a teacher. And it can also work for incarcerated individuals. One of the many amazing things we told legislators. That's pretty amazing because you can't have internet in the prison, but if you want your GED, this will help you get that, or a certification. That's a good idea. So have they done ongoing education about what we really do? Just not that we need you. All right, stewardship, that is so important. Have we told the donor in the past how their gifts have been used? Because I will tell you, I remember distinctly going through a university campaign and having a donor say to me, you only come to see me when you want money. You never come to tell me how my gifts have made a difference. Smack us down. He was right. So it's a very lovely thing. And here's what I started doing. If I saw their scholarship student, I would pick up the phone and say, I saw them, they're working here on their work study, they're doing great, everything is good. Man, it made all the difference. They wouldn't be in college, but for that, that's it. It's validation. This Montessori parent says it's validation for what that donor has already done. So major gift officers, as you're looking to sleuth out who am I going to ask, see what they funded, because that can be your entree-vous, your open door to go see them. I just saw your scholarship recipient. I just went to your arboretum. I just went into your lecture room and heard a lecture. Whatever it is, it just doesn't matter. That could be, I want to tell you all about it. Now that's a fundraiser I would want to see because they're telling a story that is personalized to me. So are you greatly appreciated and thanked and so on and so forth? You thank people 7 times, can't do it enough. I just got a Facebook post from a friend of mine who says, I need to do a Facebook private message. I need a new estate planning attorney. And when I wrote who I recommended, I said, oh, her husband works in environmental conservation, as my friend is interested in, and she and her female partner support public radio. And he wrote back and said, I like everything you've said. She sounds perfect, but she also has the legal skills. But I also promoted the charitable work she's doing. It's so simple to do. It's part of your story. And always tie the gift and appeals to mission. That mission is so important. We should look at that, think about that, embrace that. Hopefully your board members know your mission. A lot of board members don't. Some people print their mission on their business cards because it's so unknown. It should be short and sweet. Mission is really important. We're raising these gifts because what we do is so essential. We must always raise money and have an endowment to support this work. All right, Jen, would you switch for me now again? Isn't she doing a great job? Thank you. All right, marketing and education about fundraising, in particular plan giving, should happen all the time. If your charity, say to your leadership, hey, if we're already doing a newsletter, if we have a website, if we do buck slips in our appeals, you can even print a plan giving message or appeal on the back of an annual fund card. It doesn't mean a special mailing. You can do that. You can do double duty in what you're already mailing. But if you're doing a newsletter, my advice is devote a quarter page of everything you're going to print to a plan giving message or appeal. And here's a good example, because Stelter, it's your place to go. You can feature your actual bequest language. You can say retirement plans can be taxed to your children to inherit. What a great revocable choice for us and the other charities you care about. All those promotions, just make sure your Stelter company clients anyway, you're marketing and you're educating people about them. And here's what I say. I always tip it towards how it works for you how I always said to people, if this gift plan doesn't work for you, it won't work for the university either. I said that all the time because ethics are just so important and everybody's so distrustful with some reasons, not as much as we might think. But so we should give a little comfort with that. All right, so what are we going to do? We're going to stress concepts and assets. That's what our second part is going to be. Major gift officers. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to talk about death. No, you talk about legacy. You talk about living in perpetuity. You talk about educating, being a symbol to your family and grandchildren. You're talking about living memorial tribute type things is what you're doing, not death, even though it's very good to have things planned, but it's really an uplifting kind of message. So we're going to talk about concepts and assets, not a technical recitation, not we do charitable gift annuities. Don't, no. We do a kind of life income contract that's been around since 1831, often pays much higher than CD rates to older people. Hey, those are my 2 sentences on CDs. That's really it. So we're going to stress concepts and assets about how plan gifts can achieve the donors' planning objectives. And here's what I say. I'm very involved in my community. I know all my elected officials. I talk about politics. I talk about issues all the time. And I'm the wife and the daughter of economists. And so we always say, if we're going to spend for something, we should get something good for it. There's a new trail that just opened. I can walk right down to it. It's a new trail. It was used before it was finished. They're going to connect that trail with another one where, Indiana may be all connected by trails at some point. Your state's probably doing the same. I want something for it. All right. Productive values. So I say that same with plan giving. Can plan giving be part of productive values? Can it create a diversified portfolio for me? Because I often say a plan gift can be, maybe it really should be part of a diversified portfolio. Just like having trails in the portfolio of government expenses, that's a good portfolio item that we all like and is highly popular here. So think about gift planning as a diversification of a portfolio concept. That's the paradigm I'm talking about. And if you think about that, all of a sudden, it's not, I'm just needy. I'm the princess of the outstretched hand. Oh, this charity, come on, kick it out. No. We're saying we're going to be part of a territory where we're going to do repeat gifts over time that meet your life stage goals and create lots of activities. It's somewhere on my bio. But when I became director of plan giving for that higher ed institution, when I changed the paradigm from it's all about the charity to donors, we have great plans that solve your issues. In 2.5 years, our plan gift expectancies quadrupled. We had to add to accounting. We had to add to our, we did trust. We were trustee of trust. We created a gift annuity program. We created a plan gift recognition society. We could raise gifts from people calling us because we were fishing all the time. If and when that tenant farmer comes in and says, can I buy the farm? If and when Menards takes that strip of your property along the interstate, if and when you see a stock price you just can't live without, if and when this CD is going to mature and the rates are so bad, if and when you can't drive out to your vacation home in Arizona or Colorado, hey, let's talk plan gifts. All of those are asset discussions. So major gift officers, change your paradigm and just stop talking only about the charity's needs and talk about the assets that can be diversified to solve the donor's issues. Okay, Jen, we're ready for the next one. All right, the charity is going to ask certain people to consider these options. And who did I suggest right out of the bat? Board members, because board members can put 1% revocable beneficiary designation on one of their many retirement plans today, and now they count as a planned gift donor on your data. So yes, but we're going to ask people to consider gift planning options at life stages. All right, major gift officers, this is something you have not had in your arsenal. A donor is a donor is a donor to you, and you want to get their cash gift before they die, and you can't ask them anymore. Well, we think of it differently. I'm at the Thoreau stage of my life. Let's simplify. Let's not manage so many assets. Let's make it easier. Let's do planning. So the natural objects of my bounty, our 3 children, have an easier time inheriting what I want them to have. And by the way, hey, for those of you who care about your children, do a little conversation with them. I've talked to mine about stretching out. Don't take retirement plans in a lump sum. No, do the Secure Act 10 years, stretch out to minimize the tax. educate them just like you do donors and prospects. Please, you set them up for failure, as Montessori told us not to do. All right, but we're going to ask certain people to think about it. If I know somebody who has a ton of stock or rental property or CDs, and they tell you all this stuff, or vacation property, whatever, farms, I'm going to say something. If and when you want to diversify even one of those, call me. We can do something magical with even a piece of that. That's always my line. If and when you want to diversify one of those many portfolio holdings, call me, because I think we can do something magical with even a small piece. And it's going to benefit you. It's going to benefit you and solve your goals. All right, I know I haven't gotten to any stories, so I better tell a very quick story before we go on to our next slide. Exactly like this. You could go to the next one. You can go to the next one, Jen. It sounds fine. Yeah, greatly enhanced if the development officer is a good listener and responds right away. Okay, responds right away. Here's the story I tell often because it's a short one. Lewis comes in to see me. He's going to endow his journalism scholarship. He lives in Ohio. He's driven all the way down to campus. He says, I have $25,000. I need income from that. What can you suggest? So it's a gift annuity. I did what you all do. I said, Lewis, what's your date of birth? And I looked over at my gift annuity chart, thumbtacked to my bulletin board. I'm describing your office right now. And I said, oh, Lewis, that's unbelievable. You can get 7.6% for life. That's incredible. No wife, Lewis, no sister-in-law, no brother, no sibling for the second life. No, because I always ask those questions. It's ethical. No older person for the second. Okay, Lewis. He goes, wow, that's incredible. I have it in a CD. These are the good old days in Cleveland paying 2%. He said, now, Pam, if I take that 7.6%, what happens to the scholarship fund? Because I know if the market tanks, and it always will at some point, if the market tanks, the scholarship fund loses. I don't lose, but the scholarship fund loses. And I want students to ask for this. I don't want it to be a measly little scholarship that has no legs. I said to him, my gosh, Lewis, you're a better fundraiser than me. He took 6%. This is brilliant. I listened to Lewis. I didn't say, oh, you can have the 7.6%, Lewis. No, he said, I care about the scholarship fund and how much it has funding, and the market will move and it will lose. So he took 6%. He said, I tripled my CD rate. I got a higher income tax deduction. And now I know that the scholarship fund will survive tough times. Brilliant. I'm a better fundraiser for you, Lewis. So we need to respond right then. And here's the other thing about gift annuities and why I share the story with you. It's a repeatable gift. So stop being married. I call those rates, the ACGA rates, the maximum rates. I call them the maximum. So stop being so married to them and take them a panoply. Oh, I love that word. Panoply of different calculations where it's 1% less. You take them the ACGA rate, 1% less, 0.5% less, defer 2 years, defer 4 years, defer. They'll pick something. You've educated them for the repeat gift they are surely going to make and tell their friends about. Okay, Jen, we're ready for the next one. Had to tell a story. We just hope you can convince leadership to say, we got to have some conversations with people because their potential is far greater than cash, which is in short supply. Because my son down the street, 4 doors down, loves the stock market. His grandfather, my late dad, would be so proud. He watches CNBC like a hawk. And he's talked about income yield, dividend yields, what's happening with all that. So on and so forth. That is a very cool kind of kid to be thinking of as in terms of a charitable gift in the future, because he's very attuned to economic activity and options. So yeah, it's going to be more than a few options because somebody like that would make more than one gift. So that's what you say to leadership. We have repeat potential. We have bigger gifts because it could be gifts of assets. We have more kinds of gift types than we haven't had before. We'll have more activity because we have more options for donors to consider, and we'll be able to repeat with them, visit with them more than once because they have more than one type of asset in their portfolio. More is better in America. My sister lives abroad. She'll never come back because we're too much about too much. We're all about more here in this country. And yes, so more you get with charitable gift planning. Okay, so, and here's the other thing about this slide that's so important, the donor drives. I cannot tell you how many times I've heard leadership say, well, that's, no, that, if it works within your mission, if it's a planned gift that, you know, is by the book, all those things, can we get, as I say to my husband in the next room, honey, I have a can-do attitude. You know, you have to have a can-do for many attitude in charitable gift planning. And it may not be the holy design that leader came up with, but it may be a darn good plan regardless, even if it wasn't one he or she created themselves ab initio. Okay, Jen, we're up ready for the next one. All right. And major gift officers, here's where we fall down on our sword. Do we keep following up with people? You know, when people would leave Bloomington and go to Florida, I might call them during the winter. How's the weather? What month are you coming back? We sent that material. Do you have any questions? We do something to see if we can just reach out and touch somebody, because it's contact. And can we have a next step? That's why I love it, major gift officers. If you're in a call and somebody says, hey, can I do this with a planned gift? Here's a good question. Can a creditor ever reach the portfolio of a charitable major trust? Do not guess. Oh, please heaven, don't guess. Say, I don't know the answer to that, but I know who does. I'll get back with you. I now have a reason to get back with them. It is a beauty. Really, I should say, I don't know the answer to that far more, because it's a perfect entrance back into the conversation. So don't guess. That's beyond my pay grade, I've said many times. So, but I know who to ask. That's the key. All right, Jen, let's go on to the next one. Is the charity willing to keep the conversation going? And do you have any expert in the wings in case you get stuck? All right, and that's a good thing to have. It's not like, I will tell you, the vast majority of planned gifts are simple, repeatable gifts. It's not like you're going to be using somebody expert for every call. You could call me to go through a gift situation. I will talk to you about it, but there are plenty of people in your plan giving council. Stelter company has people you can call and talk to. So are there things? Don't let a question you don't know the answer to let the conversation die. Don't do that. Call them up and say, what's the answer to that? I don't know. Because a lot of times we'll give you a better answer than the donor even posed, because I'm a big fan of Andre Denikian's great advice. 9 out of 10 people will choose a simple gift plan, and even high wealth people like some fixed income. He's right. Simple carries the day. So you won't have to use this very often. Community foundation, if you're lucky, maybe they have somebody. Maybe you have a university in town that you have a good friend with who works there that can help you. There are people you can ask to let the dam open and the conversation keeps going. But most of the gifts are going to be simple, and it's technique and paradigm that really drives it. All right, Jen, you may advance. All right, how to make a pitch. Well, we might talk to that donor about endowing their annual support, on which we've come to rely. Public TV in Indianapolis got $5,000 a year, then 10, 15, 25,000. This is decades ago from the same donor. Never went to see her. Sally Reardon, she was an Eli Lilly corporate widow who felt guilty that she had all that stock. She gave all the stock dividends away every year. And when she died, she gave $75 million to Nature Conservancy, the largest donor in the history of Nature Conservancy. Did Public TV in Indianapolis get nothing? Nothing. They never went to see her. The question might be, we can't believe you're making a $5,000 gift to us each year. What drew you to the work we do? Call up, ask open-ended questions, inquire. Don't just say, hope it comes. Let's wait by the mailbox. Find out what is going on, because maybe you'll be able to talk them into endowing that annual support on which you must rely, have come to rely, and to keep that person's name associated with the nonprofit. Okay, Jen, next slide. All right. Guess what? A donor can take care of all their charitable inclinations in one well-crafted plan. Hooray! We're the one set it and forget it group, and then we can revisit it after on. Or this plan works for our charity and every other one you care about. I can't tell you how important that is. Over and over, I've met with charities as a consultant for a charity, and they love another charity better, and they talk about it more, and it's absolutely clear. So it works for that charity and us and every other one you care about. That is great marketing. Stelter would agree. I know they would. All right, Jen, let's go to the next one. All right. Now this part of the handout, we're not going to go through it because we're getting close to question time. But I put it in the slides because you're getting copies of it. But this is the simpler plan gifts that major gift officers copy this, put it in your folder, carry it with you, because these are things you can suggest. And here's bequest, magic language. Has to be magic language. If they say, oh, I put a bequest in my will or trust, I would say to them, but may I have someone send you our preferred language? Because it won't be the right language. Their attorney would, it'll be a crapshoot if they use the right language. So even that gives you a chance to suggest something. May I have my colleagues send you the bequest language we prefer? It might work for other charities. All right, beneficiary designations. I've talked about this a lot. This is the go-to gift plan for everybody. MGOs, even if it doesn't meet an immediate outright gift, this is it. Because the majority of a lot of people's portfolio is in retirement plans, and they will be taxed not to the spouse, but to the children, because it's untaxed, ordinary earned income earned in the market. So they're going to be taxed. So it's the perfect plan. And even young people can use this. Go online to the company holding the plan, put a modest percent, that's the word I always use, modest percent, to our charity and to every other one you care about it. And you can change your mind every day of your life. It means we get a percent of what's left, but it's all available to you during life. It's the perfect plan. And because philanthropy is a learned behavior, this works even for the young. My oldest child was a plan gift donor at age 22 when she included 1% for the Marion County Humane Society on her retirement plan and life insurance, where she got the first of her 2 rescued pit bulls. So philanthropy is a learned behavior. Let's educate. All right, let's look at the next one, Jen, and we're just going to fly through these last ones. Life insurance. Hey, guess what? Life insurance can be received tax-free by the family. So always talk about retirement plan assets first, better for the donor's family. Life insurance, fine to include a beneficiary designation, but since the family, should there be one, can get it tax-free, it's not my first go-to. All right, gifts funded by some or all of your appreciated stock or real estate. It doesn't have to be all of it. That's why it says some or all, and it's often low yield. Dip your toe in the plan giving pool, and let's see if you want to fund a gift through some of this appreciated stock or real estate. And real estate, Iowa is a real estate state, Indiana is, and a lot of people have more than one farm or more than one rental property. So let's try one on for size, I always say. All right, let's go to the next slide, Jen. All right, I love this. Gift of real property subject to life, estate, or term of years. We ought to be talking about this a lot. Major gift officers, plan gift officers, if you're visiting donors who are 75 and older, 75, they don't want to give you cash. They don't know how long they're going to live. If they, personal residence, vacation home, or farm only, guess what? Simple gift. It can be deeded to the charity, but it says on the deed, but I, the donor, get to live there for the rest of my life, and so does my husband, Jeff, or so does my sister, Wendy, or so does my boyfriend, Harry. There is no boyfriend, Harry, Jeff. All of that, it says whose life estate. If they're older, I will say to you, I don't think there's a church in America that the pastor or minister hasn't had a widow or widower come up and talk about, someday you're going to get my house, my farm. Hey, talk to your pastor and minister and say, or rabbi, has this happened? Here's a gift plan that would work for us right now. So this is very underutilized. And Nathan Robert Sharp, bless his heart, told us it might be term of years because a lot of older people know they can only drive out to a vacation property for a few more years. That's why it says that. And transfer on death, payable on death. That's happening all over the state, over the country, even with real estate. Bank accounts, run down to the bank account. When I die, give this account to this favorite charity. I can revoke it whenever I want. They're making estates much simpler, much easier. Let's get in the queue. That's what I would say. All right, Jen, let's look at the next slide. And we're almost ready for questions, Jen. I hope there are some. But oh yeah, I do see some questions. Savings bonds. I float that out there. During COVID, I've watched Turner Classic Movies like a fiend. And it says, buy your war bonds in this theater. There's millions of dollars, billions maybe, in mature, unredeemed savings bonds. No, they can't give them to your charity because they're ordinary income, but they can cash them in, give an outright gift. They can cash them in, fund a gift annuity for themselves or somebody else. Mention savings bonds. No one remembers those. And promoting gifts other than cash. I see it all the time. After you say it 3 or 4 times, that donor will say, are there gifts other than cash? You are educating, you're fishing, if and when, because timing, my friends, my major gift officer friends, very, very important. You want their gifts always to be a piece of the asset and not cash proceeds from a sale. Far better not to recognize the appreciation and to have the gift funded with far better. So we want the gift to be a piece or all of assets. And so timing matters. Okay, Jen, look, 10 minutes for questions. The rest of this, I'll just let you look at it. It really explains some of the things we've talked about. We hit the highlights and the questions are where the meat is. So let's go to that and you'll get all this in the material, but it really just emphasizes and highlights the things I've already talked about. Jen, I like the way you wore the cream and crimson of IU. Thank you, Jen. Thank you.
I'm not sure that's what it is, but
okay, I'm just saying
to think that.
I just noticed.
I'm just going to page through these real quick and get to the CGA.
Yes, the charitable gift annuity. I tell you, that should be the most repeated gift. And I mentioned before, if you're not big enough to do them, and most charities are not, a myriad of ways. The Community Foundation, Brian Klotz's firm, there are companies that do that. It's better to do them even if you can't house them yourself. You can grow into your success. That's what I say. So it's on the market. It's the most repeatable gift type in America and the second most popular gift type behind Bequest. So it should be on your, and it just works for people like me. Oh, and here's a slide about the IRA charitable rollover. Jen, I do want to say a couple words about that. This creates spendable cash. And I tell you, I have harped about this in every board I've been on locally, and you should too, if you know about it. And I've had friends run down to their brokers and start this IRA charitable rollover account simply because I wouldn't shut up about it. Because the key is, if I'm 70 and a half or older with an IRA, I could pick up the phone and say to my plan administrator, hey, send $5,000 to my church, send $5,000 to the animal shelter, send $5,000 to the hospital foundation. And if the checks go directly from the plan administrator to the charity, I don't get that included in my income. No, I don't get to deduct it. That's darn greedy. Not including it saves me 100 cents on the dollar instead of a stinking 15% bracket deduction. So not including it is so much better. 70 and a half, they don't have an IRA. They can do a qualified rollover into an IRA and create one. So this is so popular, it's permanent. So this should be major gift officers, money in the bank. All right, Jen, we're ready.
That was our second question, actually, if this was still in effect. So I just want you to cover that.
It got passed under George W., got extended, was it 4 times, Nathan, and then made permanent. And now there's a darn good chance at some point it'll help fund charitable remainder trust, charitable gift annuities, and pooled income fund. That may be on the horizon, that it might not be just outright gifts. It might be. There's some popularity there.
It was so nice. It was so nice when it was finally made permanent, because they kept renewing it about 2 weeks left in the year and making everything retroactive. It's such a pain in the butt. So
right during Christmas, New Year's, no one around. So
I don't think anyone would say
happy.
Congress are quick deciders of anything. Would we say that? Would we say that?
No. So you did cover this a little bit, but I know that I think Nathan will probably have some advice too. A plan giving director is asking for more suggestions on how to help train the major gift officers.
Well, the Plan Giving Council is fantastic. And I would look around and see, can I have somebody in my neighborhood? Is there anybody close who can do these kinds of things? Because hate to say, it's very hard to do it internally. You cannot be a prophet in your own family or your own town or your own shop. They just don't take you seriously. I hate to say it. It's absolutely true. So there's talent for export, but you might say to your Plan Giving Council, hey, every year you ought to do a 3-hour basic primer so we can all bring in our new people in, and we can share the expense and get a lot of exposure and raise the level of giving in the whole town. So you can ask your community foundation to do that. You can ask your Plan Giving Council to do that. There's a myriad of what, you don't have to go to a seminar as much as you used to. You can. Indiana used to have an incredible 2-day AFP, Association of Fundraising Professionals conference. They covered everything in that, including plan giving. A ton of us trucked up the road to speak to that for free to them. So you look around and see what's available, but it's exportable talent too, but you don't have to. It should be available, and you can demand that also as a client in some ways. Do you think, Nathan? Am I right about that?
Yeah, I agree. I think the local councils, I'm a huge advocate for checking with your local councils. I do think, especially in this digital age, I mean, you can even get access to national names like our own Pamela Davidson here and others again, we have so much access to it. I think the key with those when you are looking at training MGOs, again, is making it engage, interactive, making sure that they are, because, yeah, I mean, they are having conversations. They need to be available, aware of kind of what to listen for and how to navigate. And it's not a one and done type thing. It's an ongoing building a pattern of education and awareness with that group.
Nathan, I just did a webinar for a Plan Giving Council last week. I actually did 2, one last fall, the second one. It just worked out great. But I will tell you, in plan giving, you have to take on your own education. People think, oh, you went to law school, 2 sentences is everything I learned about plan giving in 3 full years of law school. 2 stinking sentences. No. The Plan Giving Council, the conferences, and the late great Deborah Ashton's book. Deborah Ashton, somebody's got to be selling that book now, Nathan. Somebody. It's such the essentials of plan giving. It was her 3rd volume. It's fantastic. It's what I sent everybody to, but you have to take it on. No one can teach. That's why you go to different things and hear different people and consult different ideas. That's why you pick up the phone and say, am I crazy? Here's what I'm thinking about. What do you think about that? Because we are very collegial in this work. Call me. I won't charge you. Call me. We just want your donor to be well served and you to put your best foot forward, and you don't trap yourself or trap donors, because if you guess about this stuff, woe to everybody. Woe to a good story circulates for a little while, and a bad story pretty much forever.
I'll also put a plug in. Nathan travels around to all the plan giving councils, and he's speaking so many. You can visit our website and look at our events page, and you can see where he's going to be and all the different topics he's talking about. And then also our webinar series as well. We usually do 1 webinar a month, and those are great. And our library of webinars are also available for you to watch.
And Jen, those have changed over the years, because Nathan, we used to do tutorial on what the vehicles were, and now we're talking about what we learned in law school, application. That's what we talk about, is application. It's not knowing the technical rules, application, moving the gift conversation along. What you don't know, hooray, I get back in the door, because now I can find out that answer and increase my own knowledge. I've learned so much from my daughter. Look, that story I told about Lewis. What a brilliant guy Lewis was. He's probably still alive. That was only 30 years ago. Probably still alive. All right, what else have we got, Jen?
Quick question. What was the name of that book you just talked about?
What is it like? It's Deborah Ashton, Ashton, and it's Debra. She passed away.
Yeah, it's the complete guide. I believe it's the complete guide to plan giving. I was just looking for my copy, but I lent it to one of my colleagues.
And I always say, Nathan, if you buy 1, buy 2, so you can have a circulating copy. Maybe you'll get lucky and a board member actually cares. You know,
So we'll
it's
figure that
so
out.
cheap. It's so cheap to buy that book. Somebody has to have that right.
We'll figure that out, and I'll put it in the email when I send out the email to everyone, just to be sure. Let's see, quick question. What's a good minimum donation to set up a CGA? We have some for 10,000 and have probably paid more than that during the donor's lifetime.
Right. Well, that's probably true. The national average, I think, is still 10,000, isn't it, Nathan? The Presbyterian Church Foundation down in Southern Indiana used to do them for $500 because they had their own book. I can't believe that. But then it moved to 5, but 10 is probably the national average. And it might go to 25, but a lot of places do maybe 25 for the first and repeat at 10. They even change the amount because it's all about repetition of those groups. And with that software, you can get that gift wrap software. It does everything for you. So if you can manage the investment, really, other than printing the checks and the 1099 each year, it really isn't that big of a deal if you have a pot that you just keep putting the same people in or new people. Would you agree with that, Nathan?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we really see that average, again, and depending on how big your program is or building your program, again, 10,000 is typically, 10 to 15 is where we see that more. We had seen lower in the past. I think some people had kind of cleaned that up a little bit just based on, the risk versus reward. But I'm kind of curious here, Jen, I don't know if you were going to ask this one, but Veronica had the question about, tell me more about the magic language. What might that?
Oh, the magic language. Yes, the magic language. Yeah, the bequest language is magic language. It's language that actually creates a bequest. Okay, I have some magic language I like. You can email me and I'll send it to you. But the magic language has the name of the charity, right? Hey, here's some bad language that an attorney put in, and it created a problem. It said scholarships for students bearing my name in the Indiana University School of Nursing. Do you know what's wrong with that? You had to have the donor's name to be the scholarship recipient. Scholarships for students bearing my name. And we had a scholarship once for a white woman in the School of Music. No. We talked to them. Now it's a scholarship for a student in the School of Music, preference for a female. I mean, what? So magic language, when you put it out there, then you know it. And I would say to Veronica, here's the sad story. It took me 7 years to have a plan giving conversation with one of the IU Foundation's board of directors. He gave me the language. It said, to the University of Indiana. I said, well, that's in Indiana, Pennsylvania. We're in Bloomington, Indiana. You sit on the board of the Indiana University Foundation for how long? Was it a decade? If a board member can't get it right, I have no faith. So I print the language, and I will tell you, our friend Russ House, who's passed away, Wisconsin forever, he printed the unrestricted bequest language 1 year on the back of the annual fund card for the University of Wisconsin. And within 2 or 3 years, he started getting bequests from people who had never contacted them because they don't contact us, using exactly that same language. Better the language is right than not done. I thought that was the most brilliant use of a mailing you were already going to do. I just couldn't even say it. So if you email me, I'll send you my preference language, but here's what I would say, so it's on your tape. Has to be blessed by your legal counsel first. Don't print it, don't put it on your website, don't do anything until the legal counsel says, oh, I like that too. All right, we probably are out of time, doggone it.
We are out of time. We have some questions we didn't get to, but Pamela has offered her email address. It's there on the screen, pjdavidson@giftplanners.com. You can reach out to her personally if you'd like to get your question answered. There were some that were pretty specific details, so those would probably be better one-on-one. You can also reach out to Nathan or myself if you have questions about Stelter, our products, our services, our solutions. You can also visit us at stelter.com. And then finally, yes, we recorded it, and yes, you'll get the handouts. Usually takes me a day or two to get that all packaged up and put on our website. So I will send you an email once it's ready for you so that you can go there. It's at stelter.com/webinars. That's where you're going to find it, and also find all of our other webinars that we've done in the past. So thank you so much, Pamela, for being here today.
Thank you. It's been such joy.
It has been joy. I had so many compliments throughout the webinar saying what a great session this has been. So thank you so much for joining us again.
We're the Midwest, practical and pragmatic carry the day. Am I right?
There you go.
I think
Practical
so.
and pragmatic and repetition. We like it all. And ethics.
So as Nathan mentioned, we are doing a webinar next month on April 20th, and you guys should be getting an invite soon. It's an interview with Dan Arley, I believe you said, Nathan. Yep. So look for that invitation for your inbox soon, and we hope you'll join us. And thanks for being here today, and have a great afternoon. Bye-bye, everyone.
Such a joy.
Thanks,
Thank
Pamela.
you. That was so fun, Jen. I had lots of fun. Could you tell? I always have fun.
You do always have fun. I'm going to end the webinar though, because it's still
Okay.
recording. It's still recording. So